Welcome to Inoapps' Talent Management at WebEx, how to attract, retain and develop the best people. My name is Jerry Seeger. I'm the Oracle HCM Practice Lead at Inoapps. Today I'm going to go through an agenda. What is talent management and why is it important? How to attract the right talent, how to create a portrait of your employees, how to cultivate talent to reach its potential, how to manage for change, a brief company overview, and some questions if we have time. Inoapps' HCM Cloud credentials cover construction, media, healthcare, and also financial services. We also implemented Oracle Cloud ourselves, covering both HCM, ERP, and some other products such as PBCS. In terms of what is talent management, in my mind, it's the attraction, the identification, the development, the engagement, the retention, and also the deployment of your important key personnel. Why is it important to us? We've all heard of the analogy of unicorns and dinosaurs. Unicorns are synonymous with those billion-dollar companies that have been built around groundbreaking, innovative solutions or services. They retain a great deal of agility and have typically been built by Generation Y entrepreneurs. Dinosaurs, on the other hand, are those slower-moving businesses that take time to adjust to new opportunities, although they are more experienced in exploiting innovation and trends, and most importantly, monetizing the end product. The dinosaurs have a blend of generations in their workforce. The key to our future business success is having a blend of both types of businesses, both types of employees in our business, and maximize the benefits of having that multi-generational workforce, thus the Rhino. We're also about to enter a period of great instability, a period of change. We have a lack of talent globally. We also have an aging population. So again, important reasons why we need to look at our talent internally. Back in 2013, Jack Welch talked about HR being the number one important factor in a business success. He used the analogy of HR being the past and the parent, and HR are the development team developing today's and tomorrow's leaders. I think he was right. More recently, Oracle's Modern Business Experience, we had Safra Katz, the CEO, talk about 3 challenges which all businesses are starting to face. The number one she mentioned was talent. And more locally, Deborah Meaden from the Dragon's Den talked about the need to be agile and match fit, again related to talent and the lack of, and ensuring that by being agile, match fit, we can respond to challenges and opportunities which present themselves. So how do we attract the right talent? Let's start by knowing what good looks like. We need to look internally at our population. We need to say what makes a good employee, what makes a good individual within our team. We have high-performing people, we have solid workers, we have a blend of people within our organisation. Depending on what we're looking to achieve, we need to have all of those people involved in our business to make us successful. So first of all, we need to look internally at ourselves. We also need to know our future organisation structure. So what are we trying to achieve? Where are we looking to go? What are we trying to get out? What's our next step in our evolution? We may be that innovative company, we may be that dinosaur, but we need to evolve, otherwise we will become extinct. We need to know where we want to be. So again, what are we trying to achieve? Do we want to be the number one in our market space? Do we want to be the first out of the blocks in terms of innovation and services? Or are we happy to follow with the herd, follow with the group? Again, no right answers or wrong answers, but we just need to know so that we know what type of talent we're looking for. And we also need to have strong leadership. So we need to be led by the front and have those individuals that are empowered to take us in the directions that we wish to go, that lead by example and set the standards and the goals for us as an organisation. So in terms of the Oracle solutions that can support us in understanding the right talent that we've got, We've got talent management, so things like talent profiles. We've got goal management, so things like organisational goals. And we also have talent acquisition, the recruitment and social sourcing. Talent acquisition is going to be part of some separate webinars in a series that are being presented by Inoapps. So I'm now going to switch into some of the system as well, so that we can start to see some of the features that relate to how we attract the right talent. So I'm logged on as Richard McIntyre. I'm on my vision environment, so this is our demonstration environment that we have. I'm going to go into About Me and look at my talent profile. First thing I see is a lot of rich analytics and rich information in relation to my skills and competencies. I can see I have areas of expertise, I have competencies, I have some featured learning, which is information that's been pushed to me perhaps in relation to the job, the role that I'm working on. I have some accomplishments, I have more formal education, so degrees, and I have some learning history as well. I also have down the bottom here that I could be a mentor or a mentee. If I go back to the competencies section and focus on my radar graph, I can see in the orange line I have the skills and competencies that make up the key components of the particular job. And this particular job, this particular role, is vice president. I can see what's expected: decision making, leadership, adapting to change, business ethics. These are some of the skills and competencies that are required for this particular role. I can also see on this radar graph in blue where I fit, so where my skills are, where my competencies are, and what level I achieve. And if I hover over that, I can actually see more details about the particular skill and competency and the particular rating as well. So I can see that we have a target of 3 of skilled to do that role successfully, and I can see that I'm very well skilled. I'm actually an expert in the leadership area. Also on this screen I have actionable insights. So I can actually take actions on the screen here, and the ones when the system comes back, I'll compare, find best fit person and find best fit job. If I look at find best fit person, this is where I can start to say that Richard McIntyre is the type of leader, the type of individual that we wish to have more of. If I look to perhaps find other individuals that possess similar traits to Richard, I can actually start to search on criteria that's important to me, and I can actually put weighting as to who I want to be included in those fits. And I can see that 2 individuals here, Patrick Dunn and Richard McIntyre himself, let's look at him, the individual, have an overall fit of 100%. I could change the weighting here, and I could look at including a larger population in my results. So in conclusion, what I need to do is I need to identify the positive traits, the skills, the competencies, the behaviours we're trying to retain, we're trying to get more of. If I'm looking to recruit people externally, those are the skills I'm looking to make sure that the applicants have before they join our organisation, and possibly the minimum values of what I'm expecting as a minimum. If I've got individuals within our organisation I'm looking to transfer or put them into succession plans, then I'd be looking for them to have perhaps slightly stronger matches to my radar graph. I'm also able to utilise mentors and peer groups to develop their individuals so that they can perform those roles. So how to create a portrait of your employees? What we need to do is we need to create a collaborative environment where employees are actively engaged in sharing information. Remember, our employees could also be our customers. So it's important that we actually create an environment in which we share the content of what we're trying to deliver, we share our services, we share our opportunities, and we actually allow people to collaborate on things they're working on. Doing with that within a framework of a corporate system allows us to use some of that technology and use some of that business intelligence for further analysis further down the road. We also need to understand the internal and external drivers that motivate our employees. So, what gets us up at the start of the day, what also makes a good employee versus a not so good employee, what makes a high-performing individual versus a performing individual, what are the keys to unlocking somebody's potential, for example. So going back into the system, what I'm trying to show you is things that perhaps you haven't seen in demonstrations before. So I'm trying to perhaps show some new features that many of you may not have experienced so far. So I'm going to go into workforce reputation management. This is a feature that was available in release 11. It's became more readily available in R12 as the product becomes more robust, more resilient, and more features start to come through. So looking at my reputation, I can see information about my influence. I can see how I am ranked against my peers. My reputation is a very new product, but it links into a lot of other social collaboration tools, as we can see down here, linking into Facebook, Twitter, no doubt linking into other products over time. And what it does is it allows us to see the impact that we're having across our network. We can see, for example, that Richard has ranked as a score of 70 out of 100 in terms of his clout, 50 in terms of his influence, and areas where I'm actually increasing my reputational score. I can also see where I'm actually becoming a mentor for people. So am I helping to develop individuals or whether I want a mentee? So if I'm looking to develop myself or individuals are helping to develop me, then again aligning myself to somebody that I aspire to be or the role that I aspire to have, and aligning myself to an individual that has that obviously provides significant benefits to the organisation. So as I mentioned, employees may also be your customers, so think of them as such and obviously nurture them in the same sort of way. Use social collaboration to support formal and non-formal actionable conversations. So again, conversations happen at the moment. Collecting those within your corporate system allows us to do things with that data, but also putting them alongside transactions as well also supports other activities. So for example, putting a conversation around a performance review, providing kudos around a task that somebody's done, can actually help develop somebody's career, can help support their future aspirations and their growth, and obviously can help the conversation generally. So how to cultivate talent to reach its potential? What we should do is provide professional and career development opportunities. So Oracle provides us with things like performance reviews and goal management systems. We know that. It also has career development as well. So rather than just looking at the role that I currently reside in, I can also look at where I aspirationally want to be. So as I join an organisation, it's not only thinking about where I am today, but looking at the bigger picture, looking at spending my career perhaps within one organisation and developing myself and the opportunities for myself within the organisation. It's also about the organisation ensuring that we don't lose good talent. So where we look, and going back to the find best fit, find best person scenario, we don't let good people leave the organisation. We look to redeploy them, for example, if they're leaving not by their own choice, or we look to motivate them by redeploying them and giving them further opportunities by matching them against their skills profile and their competencies. Also, we should be looking at teamwork and team building. Again, creating tools and applications that within our corporate systems allow us to develop and motivate individuals. And then recognise and reward. So again, making sure that people's positive contributions are rewarded, not necessarily always in financial terms, but they are recognised, rewarded, celebrated, kudos is given publicly and also privately. So what I'm going to go into now is a set of products called Wellness. So again, these products have been around since 2010, release 10 and release 11, I believe. In release 12, we're going to start to see Wellness becoming more popular, more to the fore in terms of how it starts to get used. What we have within the Wellness is, if I click on this slide drawer, we have information related to my wellness profile. So for example, as you would expect in any wellness solution, you have your biographical information, your information about your age, your weight, your height. We also have the ability to be able to connect this information to tracking services. So some of the devices that some of us may have be wearing at the moment, which track our heart rates, our steps, and lots of other things. We can connect to those, and in fact Inoapps have created some integration layers for some of those devices. So we can capture that information straight away. What we can also do though is we can actually create activities. We can create generic activities such as steps and team-based activities to perform. We can also create competitions as well. So for example, we can create competitions where we're looking to compare or compete against another team. So for example, if I'm working in a sales organization, I could be trying to do more sales than my US counterpart, for example, and therefore I could create a competition to sort of collaborate, to share, to build an internal competition. As mentioned, the reward can be monetary. Obviously it could be an eligibility to a new benefit, for example. It could be days off in lieu, it could be a hamper or some vouchers, anything that you feel would actually build the competitive nature but also the team nature of the organisation. Wellness also in the US is starting to drive down healthcare costs. Organisations that can present a healthy workforce can obviously perhaps benefit from reduction in those costs. Also specifically, depending on what your organisation does, if you're a blue light organisation, you work in the health industry, it's important that your organisation and your employees are fit. Obviously there could be a direct correlation between these type of applications and what you're trying to do as well. It could be part of your DNA, as it were, ensuring that individuals are kept at a certain level fitness. So it's about providing a framework, as it were, to support the conversations, to support the cultivation of talent, to support, the team building nature of your organisation. And it's also about creating and celebrating, success publicly for me. So it's about, rewarding people and celebrating those activities. So how do we manage change? So we can use talent reviews and succession planning to ensure your organisation has a strong talent pool, again critical within our organisation. We can create an LMS that supports the acquisition of required skills and competencies. So Oracle's new Learning Cloud products align to skills and competencies and the acquisition and retention of those. So where we see on our radar graph that we have a particular skill that we're looking to acquire or to increase, aligning that to a learning module is a very powerful tool. You can develop your team using organisational personal goals and objectives. We can use predictions and modelling to forecast the impacts of change. So these are some of the things we can use to manage for change. In terms of the solutions that Oracle provide us to support some of those features, we have talent review and succession planning. We have workforce predictions and modelling. And as mentioned, we also have the learning module that's coming along as well. So now just going to go into a talent review and just remind some and show others what we can do within Oracle's talent review. We can actually create the content of those reviews. So I've selected a talent review meeting. We have created our population as part of our cycle of pulling together who is going to be part of our review. We have metrics in here in relation to their potential, their performance that will come from their performance reviews, for example. We can have assessments, so we can build in questionnaires that allow us to identify what somebody's potential is. Have they reached their potential already, or whether or not there is more that we can give them or that we expect from them. We can also have talent scores and mobility as well, but we can also come in with notes. Here I have my 9 box that many of you will be familiar with. Oracle allows us to configure that to as many boxes as we want, and we can actually show that box by whichever X and Y views we wish to build it around. So for example, we can build potential versus retention, talent score, retention impact, or as we've got here, potential versus performance. We can also see in here that we have the ability to be able to look at risk of loss, impact of loss, and things like mobility as well. So clearly one of the things we'd want to do is look at where people are potential talent, for example, but with a high risk of loss. We might wish to build succession plans for those individuals, because those are potentially the individuals we don't want to lose. At the moment, we don't have anybody within our organisation that we've identified as top talent. But what we can do is we can also perhaps look back historically at individuals and individual talent reviews that we've done in the past, and actually see how things have changed over time. From this screen as well, we can also build in succession plans as well. So for example, we can find the individuals marked here and bring them into succession plans. So for example, a succession plan for a gentleman called Alexander Potter, or for particular jobs. And the colour coding here indicates individuals' readiness to step into those roles. So this talent review meeting the opportunity here allows us to support the retention of talent and the development of talent. Because it's driven from the system, it's real time. It also isn't as labour intensive as typically talent reviews are done at the moment or performed on non-technology based systems, and therefore we could do it on a larger portion of our population. So in conclusion, we need to be prepared. We have a period of instability. We have a global lack of talent, so we need to be prepared. We also need to be agile and we need to be match fit. We need to understand what our team looks like at the moment, what we want more of, and how we develop and nurture those people individually, internally, but also how we recruit more of the same. Inoapps, an organisation that's been around now for just over 10 years, started in 2006 in Aberdeen. We now have a number of operational centres throughout the world, one in Houston, one in Singapore. We have a presence in the Middle East, and we have a number of offices in London and Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Derby. This allows us to provide a follow the sun support and have aligns to a great geographical reach. One of the notable things in our history, back in 2016, we were awarded the Oracle Specialized Partner of the Year for SaaS Cloud Transformation. This is an award that's typically offered or given to major SIs. So as a small independent company of 300 plus staff globally, we were very proud to be awarded and be recognised for our impact and our contribution in the Oracle marketplace. So I just have a few more minutes for some questions. So I'll just quickly run through the ones that I've got at the moment, and if there are others that you wish to share with me, then please feel free to email me or email Inoapps at the end of this session, and we'll be more than happy to go through questions and answers with you. But the first question I have here is, what are some of the keys to implementing talent management successfully? So in my experience, it's been about things like a competency framework. So again, understanding what good looks like. What does a good HR analyst look like? What does a good payroll specialist look like? Understanding the traits, the skills, the behaviours, the competencies that make a successful person within your organisation. And obviously they're different from organisation to organisation. Also, change management. Again, one of the things about implementing technology is we're implementing it within your business, and therefore it needs to work within your business. Your business needs to change to fit with the solutions. We're now delivering out-of-the-box solutions based on modern best practice. For example, you need to fit your business processes around that, and I think you need to ensure that your people, the processes are aligned to the new solutions, but not only the solutions, but also what living in the cloud means as well. And I guess also planning for the cloud as well. So start small. Some of the things I'm showing today are not things that would be available from day one. What would your reputation look like when you don't have all the rich data there? Predictions would not be very insightful without significant data. So it's about starting small, accepting what information you do have, and understanding this is a journey, and the journey only gets better over time. Second question I have here is, can you share any of the challenges your customers have experienced? So I guess legacy data. So again, focusing on talent is the sort of the lack of data or the inconsistency of data. It's held in many different places. Perhaps your reviews, your performance cycles haven't been as robust or well worked through as they should be, and therefore there's inconsistency in the quality and completeness of the data. So I guess there's questions around whether or not bringing any of that data across is valuable in the first place and actually starting afresh in the new system. The process changes, again, as mentioned before, sort of around change management, the changes around goals, performance, career development and talent reviews. So how are you going to make these work for you in the new world? And the user adoption. So obviously we're having many generations in the organizations now. Some of us may have 5 different generations in the organization, and what may seem simple and obvious to one generation may not to another. But each generation has valuable insights to share. So perhaps our baby boomers, who are about to retire, have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to share, but perhaps the technology that's available to them to do that may not necessarily innovate or excite them. Whereas our generation Y are used to technology, are used to smartphones, are used to mobile, and therefore get more connected and more engaged with these technologies. So I think those are the challenges. That's one of the challenges, is actually bringing people together across the spectrum of the generations and making sure that they all adopt the solution so that you get the best returns from the product. I hope this WebEx has been insightful. As I say, I've tried to focus on some different areas that you may or may not have seen in the past. Obviously, Inoapps are more than happy to show you more technology. You're more than welcome to reach out to myself, jerry.seeger@inoapps.com, and we look forward to welcoming you to one of our follow-up WebExes in the future. Thank you very much.